At King of the Ring, The Rock would find himself once again in a world title match at a pay-per-view. He's going to be challenging the world champion, The Undertaker, here. It's going to be a losing effort. And it almost feels sort of like The Rock is lost in the shuffle at the end of the month. He's going to put over Triple H in a number one contenders match, a Fully Loaded, in a strap match. And listen, these guys have always had that professional rivalry. I mean, I don't think any of us will forget what they did in 98 with the Nation and DX and that great ladder match that was different than what we had seen in Madison Square Garden. It was a brutal ladder match, and Rock sort of earned the confidence of the company coming out of that. It's been sort of hinted around that maybe that was to determine in real life who's going to be the next guy. They go with The Rock. Now he's main evented WrestleMania. He's been to the top of the mountain. And now maybe it's his turn to bring Hunter along. Is that about right?
Yes, that's fair. That's fair, Connie.
So on August 9th, we get an episode of Monday Night Raw where Rock is doing an in-ring promo. And this becomes a pretty big moment in wrestling history because he's interrupted. This countdown that we've been seeing, the countdown to the millennium, it finishes right in the middle of his promo. And of course, we know it's a debuting Chris Jericho from WCW. And it was awesome. I love to see them go back and forth. You want to talk about throwing Chris Jericho into the deep water? I mean, here's one of the sharpest guys on the mic, and you're letting them go at it. But right away, yes, it is a real test of Jericho, but it's also a vote of confidence to put him in with a top guy like that right away, right?
Yeah. I was always very high on Chris. You know, the only thing I had to overcome was the fact to Vince that Jericho was not 6 feet tall. And that may sound so bullshit, but it's a fact. Vince loved big guys. Jericho had a great body. He was athletic. He was in shape. He looked good, but he wasn't 6'2" or 3. He might have been 5'11". But that was one hurdle to overcome to get Vince to sign off on Chris. But when I showed Vince some tape of Jericho in action, like a little highlight reel, he was sold. Because Chris could work with anybody. He still can. You know, I feel so good. It's good for me as an old timer when I go to the pay-per-views at AEW. My thanks to Tony Khan for facilitating that. That I enjoy seeing everybody there. But seeing guys there that I have a long history with, you know, Chris and I talk about that all the time. We laugh. You know, he was the new kid, and it was challenging for him to get accepted into the locker room in the early going because he was a top guy, and he was coming in to take a top guy's spot, and that meant somebody was moving down the line instead of moving up the line. So I truly love my time in AEW where I could see my old friends like that. That's one of the great things about doing TV. And when Sting was there, you know, he's another guy that, you know, I go back farther with Sting than any announcer on the team because I went back with Sting to the days that he was one half of the Blade Runners, his partner being the irrepressible Jim Hellwig, Ultimate Warrior, until Cowboy got sick of that act, fired him, but he wanted to keep Sting, which we all did. So, and Bill made the right call on that deal. Warrior was not a he wasn't a Vince McMahon guy. He might have been later on. But it was just it was just a fit. Sting fit, and Warrior did not. I always thought Warrior was one of the most overrated talents that I ever called a match for. His skill set was limited, but he was, you know, he got over, and I guess that's all that matters. He got over with smoke and mirrors at one point in time, and Sting started adding to his repertoire. He learned how to work. He learned psychology. He was a student of the game. So when I go to AEW back when Sting was unretired, it was just a great day at the office. Us old guys like to tell our stories. That's part of the concept of doing a podcast. You get to tell your stories. And I love the time I got to spend with Sting in the latter days of his active career. Now, I don't know if we've seen the last of Sting or not. I think we have as a wrestler, but I can see him in another role at some point in time if it fit, but not to force it on anybody because he retired. And I believe those retirements should mean something.
Well said. I think everybody listening to this agrees. Let's talk about a big moment in another one of your AEW fellows' careers, Billy Gunn. We're talking about SummerSlam 99, and this is a pretty infamous match in the internet wrestling community because Billy Gunn had been positioned in 99 for a singles run. I think he was a big part of the King of the Ring and had had so much success in the tag team division, not only as the Smoking Guns, but became one of the more over acts with the New Age Outlaws, a big part of everything that happened with DX. And now it's time to make him be a breakout star. So we position him with The Rock, and it's a kiss my ass match. And Billy Gunn's going to come out with a lady, and he says that when he wins, Rock's going to have to kiss her ass, not his. They're going to be brawling all over the place. And as you might imagine, The Rock gets the win. And Meltzer would say that it was a somewhat disappointing match. And the next night, The Rock is going to cut a promo where he basically categorizes Billy Gunn with Gangrel and Brooklyn Brawler as type of wrestler at a level he should not be wrestling. And a lot of people think, for better or worse, The Rock cut Billy Gunn's water off here. What say you?
I don't know. I mean, Billy Gunn was there to get The Rock over, and that happened. So I don't know what the issue is. Now, I know Billy Gunn fans will disagree with me on that, and it's certainly not lessening the effectiveness of the skill set of Billy Gunn. You know, I was watching AEW the other day, and he was on there with the Acclaimed. He still got it.
Oh yeah.
He's got the natural timing and feel. He's helped his sons immensely because they're evolving into a hell of a good team.
Yes. Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. And they work hard. They're students of the game. They're not lazy. They stay in good shape. They take that after the old man. So I'm a big fan of Billy and his family. And those kids are going to be a hell of a tag team. They may be the best tag team in AEW period before it's all said and done.
Well, how about that? That's a big statement right there, considering the rest of that tag team division. So get your quotes ready on that one. By the way,